you.
The men's soccer team is home for 2 games this week. Tomorrow, the Badgers host SIU Edwardsville at 7 p.m. Then on Sunday, the men kick off the Pack the Mac doubleheader by hosting 10th-ranked Maryland at noon. That game will be televised by Big Ten Network. And then also on Sunday, UW will host an alumni reunion to honor the 20th anniversary of the 1995 NCAA championship team. Head coach John Trask is here. We'll have some opening comments and take questions.
First of all, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic week for us. Looking forward to an excellent matchup against SIUE, an NCAA tournament team that I'm sure will be ready to come to McClymonds tomorrow night and put in a great performance. And then we follow that up with Maryland at home in a nationally televised game on the Big Ten Network. Pack the Mac, but almost more, I think more importantly, we're going to have quite a few members of the 1995 National Championship team back in town, along with a host of other alumni for a great celebration of that championship from 20 years ago. It'd be great to see those guys. I had to coach against them, and it was a tremendous team performance and won them a national championship many years ago. In terms of our team, you know, we've really challenged these guys. You know, they say adversity makes you stronger. I think, put more miles on our players going to the West Coast and then back-to-back weekends to the East Coast. To New York City, playing our first Big Ten game against Rutgers and then following it up this past weekend against St. John's. And we've had a couple home games, looking forward to being back at McClymonds, but I think these guys have gotten hardened a little bit more. And I know a lot of coaches speak about process, and you know, I don't really utilize that word very often. To me, it's not a process. It's about becoming a damn good soccer team. And I think we're well on our way. I like this team. I think there's a great personality. There's an electric athleticism to them and a strength to them. And while still relatively young, we're really looking forward to the challenges in front of us. And, you know, the Rutgers win on the road in the 109th, 59th minute, literally a buzzer beater, which you rarely, if ever, see in soccer. And then to turn around and go out and play a storied program like St. John's, that I have a lot of respect for that program, and beat them 2-1 on the road. You know, I was kidding the guys. I said they're going to have to rename Studio 54 Badgers 54 for what we did on the East Coast in New York City. And I know our guys love going to Times Square after the big win, so I'll open it up for questions.
You alluded to it a little bit, but that was a big win for you all at Rutgers, and then fashion it came. Do you think something kind of clicked in the guys' heads, the younger guys? Did you notice something different when you got back that week for training where, hey, we finally broke through, we won one of these games, we can do this?
I think that's part of it. Winning on the road in the Big Ten is extremely difficult, and I heard some of the things that Paula Wilkins was saying regarding her young team. We've got some excellent older leadership, but we're still a relatively young team. We've got a lot of redshirt freshmen and true sophomores starting in very important roles. And you know, learning how to win is not easy. You can call it a process. As I say, it's about becoming a damn good sports team. And you know, really proud of the effort put in. And I think when you look at Rutgers turning around and beating Indiana at Indiana 4-1, I think people are starting to realize the performance at Rutgers to get that win was big. And St. John's, regardless of their, you know, the results up to this point, everybody knows it's a very difficult place to play. And our guys went in and got the job done. So congrats to the players.
Over here on the Do you see a spot where those 2 wins, especially on the road, is going to give this team that is, like you said, young in certain spots, a needed boost of confidence?
No question. I mean, confidence is a big part of the development of a group of players, and you gotta score some goals, and you gotta taste the victory. We had moments, even in the St. John's game, where we felt maybe we could have put it away, gotten a 3rd goal, and these guys have never been up on the road. We won 3 games last year. We started the season 0-4. Missing a big key player who was off with the New Zealand national team, and Sam Brotherton. Not to make excuses, but we've only had this team intact for 4 games. And, you know, in my mind, we're really 2-2 on the season in terms of having the full complement of players. So, yeah, the confidence level's high. They know they can win. Now, hopefully, we can continue. We were 3 games at home this week, or through next week before we have to go to Michigan. So 3 games at McClymonds. We're really looking forward to getting back in the comfy confines.
You talked about the young guys on the team. Obviously, you can yell stuff from the sidelines and you can yell stuff during practice and try to get through to them. But how much does Drew Connor work as almost like an extension of yourself out on the field when he's, he probably shares a huge part of the leadership role with getting the younger guys in line?
Yeah, not just Drew. Carl Schneider's a fifth-year senior, one of our captains. Adam Lauko's a fourth-year senior, and we've got some other very experienced older guys on the team. But Drew's huge, and in fact, I said to Drew yesterday after we got back from New York that I feel for him in a way. He was on the 2013 team when we had an excellent team, and he's helped progress these young players. He's probably not going to get all of it, even though I challenged him that we've got 2/3 of our regular season still in front of us, and then the Big Ten, and then hopefully NCAA. But Drew is very important, and he's a guiding light for these younger players, both his personality within the group and how he deals with the coaching staff. And he knows us best. He's been in more big moments with us than any of these younger players, and they're starting to realize we're tough. We're tough on players in practice, so hopefully on game day, they can adjust to the situation and get the results that they want to get. It's a player-driven sport. It's not a coaches-driven sport. We don't get to substitute on the fly. We don't get to call timeouts. And so what we do in training is critically important to their performance on game day.
John, where were you 20 years ago, and how good was that '95 Badger squad?
They were phenomenal. I was at the Final Four as a member of the Indiana coaching staff. Had to deal with them the previous couple years. They had kind of knocked Indiana off the pedestal in '91 or '92 was their first Big Ten championship, first time Indiana hadn't won it. They actually broke, I believe, a 64-game unbeaten streak by Indiana in the Big Ten, that group of players that eventually won the national championship. And I remember the weekend vividly. They host a large party at the Final Four, and everybody was saying the winner of the Duke-Virginia game, the winner of the Duke-Virginia game, and Wisconsin was the undercard in a way. They played Portland, had a good, solid win. And I remember everybody saying, oh, Duke's going to kill them. Duke's 20 times. They're the ACC. This team's no good. I said, this will be a walk in the park. It'll be men against the boys tomorrow. That Wisconsin team was so solid, big, strong, knew each other. And I just think about some of the names, seeing Mike Gentile go into the Hall of Fame, Scott Lamphere already in the UW Hall of Fame. And there's a host of other guys that probably deserve it in the future. It was a tremendous team. They didn't give up a goal the whole NCAA tournament. And I think that's only happened once or twice in the past 25 or 30 years. And so Coach Launder and that staff and that team, what they did to win that national championship. And, it's always interesting, I think, in the Big Ten, we take it for granted we compete against each other. But when it comes for moments like that at a Final Four, I think there were a lot of people pulling for the Badgers on the basketball court. And we at Indiana or any of the coaches in the Big Ten were pulling for Wisconsin to win that championship in 1995. And they were the best team. There's no question. That was no fluke. They were the best team. They passed the ball extremely well. They were very disciplined. And it's going to be great to see them. I'm sure a few of them have gotten a little grayer or lost some hair in the process, just like myself. But it would be nice to see those guys. And I didn't really know them other than having to compete against them in a way as a coach at another university. But it's going to be a lot of fun to share in their moment of, I think, the 20 years, the most important one. I think it kind of puts life in perspective a little bit. These guys are in their 40s now. What they accomplished for this university was amazing.
You kind of mentioned how when you were at Indiana, you could kind of see them coming. They knocked off Indiana a couple years before, and then eventually they won the national championship. Now that you're a coach, 20 years later, in your experience, when you coach young guys, what do you think the biggest aspect, character trait or whatever it is, what do you think it is that gives teams the ability to, okay, like they made one step and then like complete the leap by the end of the run? There's no magic formula in soccer or any sport. You've got to be put in those situations. Like I'm sure Coach Ryan would talk about Kaminsky and those guys over the course of their career. Those more moments they get in, more higher profile. Same with our volleyball program, obviously our football program here. More high profile moments where the chips are on the line.
that's how these student athletes improve. And I think some people don't really realize all the time what college athletics provides these kids. What my guys just went through with 3 weeks on the road, the adversity. We had vans breaking down in California, and we couldn't train, and that's a big part of the student athlete experience because it's real life. Not everything goes according to plan. And I think the guys from 20 years ago would say they learned valuable lessons from that run to win a championship. And I know our guys are valuing the lessons that they're learning as well right now. And I think we'll start to see more and more W's with this group. It's a fun group to coach.
One quick question for you. I think one guy that doesn't get a lot of pub, and he's newer to the team, is Sam Brotherton from New Zealand. He's already got experience playing with his full national team. He's a really talented kid. Can you tell us a little bit about his story and how he came here and what you've seen from him so far?
Yeah, just interesting. Sam, through some agent friends of mine around the world, we were fortunate enough to know about him, and he committed to coming here. I went and met him and his family in Auckland. He went on. He was on their under-20 national team. He's also been with their Olympic group over the summer and has been into 2 camps with their full national team prior to entering the University of Wisconsin. And to put that in context, Jerry Yeagley, the legendary coach at Indiana, and I were speaking a couple weeks ago, and we could not recollect any player who's ever been in with their full national team prior to getting to school. Jordan Morris at Stanford right now is a member of our U.S. men's national team. He's actually going in for the Olympic qualifying, so we wish them luck there. But to have a kid before entering college even decide to come to university, I think that speaks volumes about what Wisconsin is. His parents believe in an education. And, Sam's pedigree, when you look at, and I'm talking not just Big Ten, I'm not talking Wisconsin, I'm talking in 40 years of collegiate soccer. There may be 3 or 4 other kids in the history that have played for either Haiti or Jamaica's national team prior to getting to university. And, the story needs to be out there. Sam Brotherton is as big a recruit as we're going to probably have during my tenure here. And he was massive in the game the other day. He was extremely good in the game against Rutgers. And, the characteristics are so similar in many ways to A.J. Cochran, who was our All-American defender who went pro a couple years ago. It's just great to have him with the guys. And I think he's fallen in love with Madison and the University of Wisconsin already, which is exciting to see for us as well.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, John.